And it's a perfect segue because we're going to talk about the Dolphins right now. Tua had his shot to win out and make the playoffs. And we were all looking at week 18 as the game versus the Patriots where he was going to get eliminated. But it was actually against the Titans. And, Drew, you're going to Miami still. You're still going to fly out there. Hopefully, somebody that's watching can buy you a drink at a bar or something, and you guys can cry together. The Dolphins lost 3-34 against the Titans. The Dolphins have been eliminated from the playoffs. Now, to be eliminated in this fashion is embarrassing. Oh my
God.
And
he's getting rude.
I texted you after the game and I said, "Hey man, are you okay?" And you said, "Yeah, I'm all good." And I said, "Okay, I just want to make sure because I know it was tough." Tua went 18 for 38, had 205 yards and an interception, 47% completion percentage. He fumbled 3 times. 9 fumbles on the season, by the way. And only Justin Fields has fumbled more times, throwing fewer than 370 passes. We don't even know what Fields is yet. We don't know if he's going to be great or going to be bad, but that's not good company. He had one big-time throw to Water. I know you're going to rave about that. That was the only highlight of the game. What did I tell you, Drew? What have I been saying about Tua this entire time? I said the Dolphins' win streak was a facade because they didn't face any good teams. The first time that Tua had some real competition on defense was against the Saints, and the Dolphins barely won. They only won because Ian Book, he was a deer in headlights out there. And for all the Dolphins fans that last week wanted to get on me in the comments for what I said, he's obviously going to hate on Tua. He's wearing a Zach Wilson jersey. He's a typical Jets fan. Dolphins fans have to stop acting all high and mighty like their team has had any success. What did I say was going to happen? Tannehill was going to have a big-time game. And those 2 touchdowns, they were big-time. My boy,
120 yards.
My boy Deontay Foreman, baby Derrick Henry with 100-plus rushing yards. I told you, sometimes he looks like Henry out there. My eyes are not lying. And sometimes he looks like that out there. But let's talk about the Dolphins. The last time they made the playoffs was in 2016, and they lost to the Steelers with Matt Moore starting at quarterback. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2000 when they beat the Seahawks 20-17 in the wild card round. The very next round, they lost 7-62 in the divisional round against Jacksonville. They haven't made the AFC Championship since 1993. The Jets, we made the AFC Championship in 2009 and 2010. Guess what? We got 4 playoff wins. 4 playoff wins in the last 12 years. That's more than Dolphins. So these Dolphins fans trying to act like their franchise is all high and mighty. You couldn't win with Dan Marino, and you're definitely not winning with Tua Tagovailoa, since I'm always getting his name wrong. It's Tagovailoa. And now I'm pretty sure the entire Dolphins fan base is split between should we keep Tua or should we move on. So, Drew, I'm asking you the question. You're the Tua guy. You're the Tua lover. Should the Dolphins move on from Tua or should they keep him? And don't forget, you said he was more accurate than Mahomes, than Burrow, than Herbert. So I want you to have the floor right now.
All right. A lot of things to unpack here. A lot of things just thrown at me. It was a rough Sunday. Not going to say it wasn't. Now, for all those that are still on this video, given the fact that Joel just continued to run on and on and on and on about how bad the Dolphins are, I appreciate you because I know you guys are here to listen to what I have to say. Since I am the face of Finn family here on this podcast, since no one else is going to give them their due diligence. Understandably, I'm here with 2 Jets fans. Again, as you guys know, Jets are going to be the Jets. They're going to hate on the Dolphins regardless. Now, to go into Sunday, I definitely will give some backlash to Tua. However, I don't fully believe that this game was his fault. You mentioned about the accuracy. What is he supposed to do in inclement weather when his coaches are not putting him in a position to be successful? Mike Gesicki came onto the podium after the game and said there was no scheme for inclement weather in practice, not once. Now, I'm a huge fan of Flores. I really am. But as the defensive coordinator, he's not a head coach, in my opinion. They need an offensive-minded head coach that when Brian Flores is on the sideline, while Tua is there, he's not drilling him with just negative feedback, but actually something that's going to benefit him on the field in terms of adjustments. The offensive coordinator, I had not been too low on, but not too high on. I was appreciative of them running the RPO offense, given the fact that their offensive line is the worst in the league, and we saw it on display this Sunday. Now, in terms of Tua's play, I went over the film multiple times. I needed to make sure what I was going to say on the show wasn't baloney. 18 for 38, interception, no touchdowns. You look at the stat line, it looks like Tua had the worst game humanly possible. Now, there was two throws specifically that I looked at throughout that game and thought, that's on Tua. This is a bad throw. There was one over the top where he had Gesicki and had Parker, and he kind of threw the ball in between them. Must have been a miscommunication on the route. Who knows? Where he just sailed it right in between the two, and it should have been an interception, no doubt. The safety just dropped the ball. Then there was another one where he's scrambling outside the pocket, and he throws the ball on the run, just throws it in the dirt. Those were the two throws that I looked at and thought, this is on Tua. He needs to get better at throwing on the run. That's the only thing that I look at going into this offseason that Tua really needs to work on, because he's a little bit more mobile than I've been giving him credit. He was this Sunday specifically against the Titans where they were really pressuring him. He was scrambling to his strong side, and he was making some throws happen. Joel, he mentioned his TikTok. Go ahead and show that, give that some love on TikTok. I believe it's at Joel Dehls. There was one play specifically that he singled out where Tua is scrambling to his strong side, throws it borderline cross body, and hits him perfectly right where he needs to be. To say that Tua, the only good play that Tua had was to waddle, is borderline egregious. I do believe we'd spoken a little bit before the show, Joel, that you give him a little bit of hate to the fact that it looks like he's giving his all into every single throw. Go look at that throw to Waddle. That throw was effortless. It was perfect, right on the money. Given the fact that this game was in inclement weather, and given the fact the coaches refused to scheme up for a game like this, especially with the fact that they live in Miami, they understand the conditions of playing in the rain, to not scheme for it at all. And for the fact for the run game to be non-existent in the second half is beyond me. You had Duke Johnson, 7 carries, 49 yards in the first half, and you barely used him in the second half. I don't want to hear the whole game script was changed in the second half. It was 17-3, 10 minutes left, and they were on the Titans' end of the field. They more than had a chance. There was 2 times that they had this where Tua drives both times, one the full length of the field, the other regular field position, And Tua that first time drove them from the 2-yard line into Titans territory where they were taken out because the O-line can't hold for more than a second and a half, it seems like. Number 77, I don't even know his name. I don't want to disrespect him. He's in the NFL. Shout out to you. God bless you. You're not meant for the Dolphins. You've been horrible this whole season, You've been a huge liability to his blind side, especially as a lefty. You need to be the best O-lineman on the field, and week in, week out, you have been the worst player on the O-line without a doubt. You blow his blind side up every single week. They need a replacement at right tackle without a doubt. And there's 2 times where now he's driving down the field. He's in Titans territory. Jason Sanders, who's been a liability all season kicking field goals, misses the field goal to put them 17-6. And then on 4th down, now that he's missed that field goal, the next drive, 4th and 11, they're not kicking a field goal because they're down 2 scores. And instead of being in position to kick a field goal where it'd be a 1-score game, the whole game script is different. Who knows what happens? Now you force their hand, 4th and 11, them to throw the ball to Devontae Parker, who one was egregiously pass interference with like that was one of the worst non-calls of the entire game, if not the worst non-call of the entire game. And that basically was the beginning of the end for the game. You don't get that 4th down conversion. The very next drive, Tennessee goes and scores a touchdown that drive, 24-3. Of course, the game script's out the window. You have to pass the football. And already where inclement weather has played a huge role in this game, it was doomed. 24-3 with 7 minutes left. The game's over. D'Onta Foreman absolutely left his mark on this game. And forget about Tannehill. He had 120 yards. I'm not looking at him as the reason why they won this game. The reason they won this game was D'Onta Foreman. Without a doubt, he was spectacular. But ultimately, I'm not looking at Tua leaving this game thinking I'm looking at Tua as the main reason the Dolphins lost this game. There's no way, if you watch the game, you watched every throw that he made, that you can leave with that remark. Should they move on from Tua, given the fact they have all this cap space and they've put him in zero position to be successful all season, outside of them really changing the play call to RPO? That was the only good thing the Dolphins did for Tua. They said, we're going to run more RPOs because, one, you're so efficient and so accurate with the football that you can get it out quickly and make smart decisions. Other than that, they've done nothing to benefit him. They gave him one weapon in Jalen Waddle. They have an average run game at best. I said it earlier, Myles Gaskin's not that dude. Duke Johnson came in and was eons more effective than Myles Gaskin had been all season. And Devontae Parker, as much as I want to give this guy credit for in the past, what have you done for me lately? This game against the Titans, he had chance after chance after chance to help Tua out, did not make a single play for him. And I understand that he was interfered with. No doubt he was interfered with on that fourth down. You got to stop arguing with the ref and make a play for your guy. There was multiple times where I saw Devontae Parker get a hand on a ball, there was a chance for him to make a play, and he did not come through with it. Now, I'm not going to give Waddle a break either because he's been spectacular all season, but on Sunday, he had a couple drops that would have been big for the Dolphins. Overall, I'm looking at inclement weather, and I'm looking at irresponsible coaching as the reasons why the Dolphins lost on Sunday. Do I think they should move on? Absolutely not. They need to address the O-line. They need to get him one more weapon outside, maybe a Melvin Gordon type player in the backfield as well. That is a dual threat running back type wide receiver. To move on, unless the name is Deshaun Watson, would be irresponsible and incorrect.
Drew, before you go, Jelano, you want to talk?
Go ahead.
Drew, that was beautiful. And for a second there, you almost made me switch my stance on Tua for a second. Because you just spoke so beautifully, and I just wanted to give you that credit. I just want to let you know that there was a point in time where Tua was 8th in QBR. He's 18th now. He was first in completion percentage. You raved about that. He's 7th now. Joe Burrow is completing 70% of his passes, and we all know he's throwing the ball way deeper than Tua. Who's more accurate now?
I'm still going to ride with my boy. I mean, I'm not going to look at one game where inclement weather played a factor terribly when I've seen all season Tua being one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. If we want to go with the grand scheme of things and say the better quarterback, hey, I have no argument right now. Joe Burrow is among the best in the league right now. If that's the argument we want to go with, hey, I have to raise my hands and I have to say Joe Burrow has it. But if we're talking strictly placement, Joe Burrow is fantastic in terms of ball placement, but outlier with this Sunday, Tua's been borderline flawless with ball placement all year.
It's interesting you say that, Drew, because I have two real thoughts here. One's more of a thought experiment. The other is more statistical, right? So we talk a lot about this win streak the Dolphins went on. And for this last month or so, I've kind of let you two go at it. Joel's on one side, you're on the other. I've kind of been middling. But as the weeks go on, I'm more and more taking Joel's side. And for anyone who says we're Jets fans, Joel's one of the biggest Mac Jones fans ever. He's a Tom Brady fan. I've criticized him for that in the past, but it's not a Jets thing. You know, I have no problem. I think Mac's going to be really good. Josh Allen's a stud. This is a Tua issue, right? So I went through it. From weeks 10 to 17, remind you, they're playing the Ravens, who's had a bad defense, the Jets twice, worst defense in the league, Panthers solid, Giants, Saints, Titans. Not the most great competition, but like you said, Drew, let's look at the totality. And really, since Tua has come back from injury, he has 1,500 yards, 16th most in the NFL, 8 touchdowns, 18th most in the NFL. He has 13 turnover-worthy plays. It's the same as Trevor Lawrence, same as Taylor Heineke, which is the 6th most in the NFL. He has a turnover-worthy play on 5.2% of his attempts, the 3rd highest rate in the NFL. And his accuracy, that's his calling card. He's 10th in adjusted completion percentage. Above average, but if that's your calling card, you need to be top 5. And I know what you're going to say.
This week.
From weeks 10 to 17, he's 10th in adjusted completion percentage. That's fine. That's good. But you're talking Tua as being the one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. And I know the biggest issue all season has been offensive line. In that span, he's been sacked 12 times. It's the 18th most. He's been pressured 69 times. It's the 18th most. Guys like Derek Carr, Dak, Josh Allen, Burrow, Cousins, Mahomes, Herbert, Kyler, all pressured more than him. When Tua is kept clean in the pocket this season, he's ranked as the 18th highest passer. He has the 19th highest adjusted completion percentage, and he's 25th in ADOT. So when he has the time and he has the offensive line, he's been below average. He hasn't been great all season. He's had his moments here and there, but I look at these last 7 weeks when he's been the starter going on this run, it hasn't been because of Tua. Their defense has been great. So that's my first point.
And Joe, that's right. The one game where their defense isn't forcing turnovers, say what you want about Tannehill. He managed the game. He was efficient. He didn't fumble 3 times like Tua. He didn't throw an interception like Tua. Tannehill was efficient. Want to know why? Because he's the man of hell. That's number one. Ryan Tannehill was putting on for Tennessee. And we're going to get into the Titans more next segment. I want to believe in Tua, man. I really do. And for your sake, you got the Tua jersey right behind you to your left. You know, it's all cool and stuff like that. I said it last year. I never called Tua a bust. All I said was that the Dolphins will forever regret taking Tua over Justin Herbert. And everybody knows that's a fact. But I also said this. He's Jimmy Garoppolo. And that might be generous to Tua because Jimmy G at least took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. And if you ask me who's better between Jimmy G and Tua, Jimmy G is better than Tua. You can win games in the NFL with Tua, but that's about all you're going to do. And I'm not going to say it's all Tua because the Dolphins have a lot of holes. Jason Sanders, you're right. He's only made 72% of his kicks this season. Last year, it was at 92%. Their offensive line, the worst in the NFL. They have no running game to speak of. It's not all Tua's fault. But when this roster does get assembled, we're going to see a similar situation happen in Miami to what's happening in Cleveland right now with Baker. You know I don't like Baker too much. I mean, pardon me. You know I've been defending Baker because he's dealt with a lot of injuries. But even in that, I don't think Baker's a franchise-changing guy. He's a good quarterback, and right now he's getting knocked for being one of the worst quarterbacks, which he has been this season. But when he's healthy, I think Baker is also in that Jimmy G tier where you can win with him, but you're not going to win because of him. The Dolphins will never win because of Tua. They'll also never win in spite of Tua. It's going to be a fair, common middle ground.
Now, Joel, you said something specific about all these numbers with a clean pocket. Now, A lot of that is skewed because of week 17. Just last week, he was number 1 in passer rating with a clean pocket. Just last week. Now, we look at this week where, yes, some balls were sailing a little bit high. This is because the ball was wet, and he had not been prepared, given the fact that these coaches did not scheme a game plan for inclement weather. You're a professional coach. You know the forecast. These are things that go into account when scheming for a game, I understand the stats that you read off, and yes, if we're reading them this week, they sound horrible. If we're reading them last week, they're spectacular. Because again, like I said, he was number 1 in passer rating last week with a clean pocket. And the whole him being not pressured, not being sacked, the most in the league, 18th most, it's because he's getting the ball out so quickly because he understands the time that he has in the pocket is so minimal. We have not seen a quarterback who is as much of a pocket passer as Tua is, because you look at Burrow, you look at Herbert. These guys, Herbert has a good O-line this year, but you look at Burrow specifically, his O-line's not the best, but his ability to scramble outside the pocket and make plays happen, given the fact that he has Jamar Chase, he has T. Higgins, he has Tyler Boyd, he has Joe Mixon that's an effective pass catching back out of the backfield. You have TJ Hughes-Manzada. Tua does not have that luxury that Burrow has in terms of weapons. Uzama, excuse me.
Yeah. TJ, he's retired.
What did I say? Hunanzada? I apologize. Uzama, excuse me. I'm thinking of another Bengal.
Yeah.
You look at that sense of it, and he needs to get the ball out fast because, one, he's not as mobile as these other guys, and two, this O-line is not holding a block to save their life. So to read those stats, I understand that they don't look great on paper, but again, there are things that go into it that are reasons why he needs to get the ball out so fast. Because if not, he is not the mobile type of guy, and he's going to get murdered. We saw it with Eli Manning, and I don't want Tua to have that same fate over the end of Eli's career, where Eli had a great he had a great pocket. What happened? He was able to elevate his team when he needed to most, and he won a championship. Now, we saw when Eli didn't have a great O-line that everyone was bashing Eli, that he's washed, that he's not good. But we haven't seen the Giants have success since Eli's been gone. Now, Tua is in a similar situation where he has a terrible O-line. He's a pocket passer type quarterback who has shown when he has a clean pocket, he can be effective. Why am I going to backtrack on my thoughts, given the fact that I've seen what he can do when he has a clean pocket? I know the accuracy that he has. I know the capability and the abilities that he has. I'm not going to backtrack on any of that.
So I took out week 17, right? Inclement weather, bad game. Weeks 10 to 16, he's 8th in adjusted completion percentage. He is number 1 in regular completion percentage. When you take adjusted, so you take out, the batted balls, the throwaways, the spikes, whatever you want to do. Adjusted completion percentage, he's 8th. Turnover worthy plays 10.2% of times, which is second most in the league. So it got worse after last game. It didn't get better. But I want to go moving on from the statistical thing because we could talk stats all day. I put this little list together here because I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts, right? When we talk about quarterbacks, put them I have 4 categories. The first category is I'm not moving them no matter what. These players, a couple of them might get traded at some point just because of personal reasons. But Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Lamar, Kyler, Russ, Deshaun. If I have these quarterbacks, my franchise is set. I'm not moving on no matter what. The next tier is I'm happy they're my guy, but if one of those other guys become available, I'm picking up the phone and I'm trading for them. Stafford, Derek Carr, Cousins, Dak, Tannehill. Not A quarterbacks. They could have A moments for a season. They're probably not going to be MVP-like.
Staffy being on that list is crazy.
No, it's not. He's not on that elite tier.
Now, I have unproven, but these guys I'm still confident are going to work out. Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts, Wilson, Mack, Fields, Lance. So all of these rookies plus Jalen Hurts, who's really had a full 16 games now. So he's first full season, took him to the playoffs. I'm pretty high on Jalen Hurts. Now, this is my last tier. These are the guys that I want to upgrade. I'm going out and I'm trying to upgrade. Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Jimmy G, Baker, Tua. That's where I have Tua right now. I'm not saying you go and you move on from Tua to get Teddy Bridgewater, but I, in a heartbeat, would trade Tua in a first-round pick and get a Derek Carr or a Kirk Cousins.